I don't really know where the idea caught on that every Ultra Magnus needs to have a Magnus hammer. Maybe from Transformers Prime, but you know what? That's not the only huge weapon that an Ultra Magnus can have. What about a big Magnus sword? That kind of rocks too. And so does this guy. We're going to take a look at him in the next GotBot True review. This is the Deluxe Class Fall of Cybertron Ultra Magnus. Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. Check me out across social media. I guess we'll get right into this guy. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you spending a little bit of time here with me as we look at the Fall of Cybertron figures again, in light of the game coming out. I guess getting a re-release. And this guy is okay. Now, you might say, whoa, GotBot, didn't you just recently do a review of the Fall of Cybertron Optimus and say that that was fantastic? Yes, I did. And this guy will be too. You'll see when we get into it. Just like I felt like Deluxe was a little small for Optimus, I think Deluxe is a little small for Magnus. I still say the best size for an Ultra Magnus is Voyager, but hey, that's just me. So let's look at this guy. We're going to actually start off with his weapons. He comes with the same gun that Optimus came with. This right here. It kind of looks like an Optimus gun. If it was white, I could see it as a Magnus gun. But he comes with this really cool sword. I really dig this thing. And of course, he can hold both of them and wield both of them. But this thing is more than just a sword, because you can take it apart and have a piece there, and you can take out the handle and have a whole other piece. Now you got all these weapon pieces. But there's a point to having all these weapon pieces. Let's just stand this guy up here so he can look cool in the background. You can take the gun and really turn the gun into a super sword. So how do you do that? Well, you take the handle, and the handle has a little space here, and you can put that over the handle of the gun. Now, I, for some reason, can never remember exactly how this goes on. There we go. Goes on over the handle of the gun. The gun has two handles, a handle down here and a handle right here. The handle right here that I'm holding is the one that this goes over. And it only fits one way, that's the thing. Yeah, it only fits on one way. And that wasn't it. I just had this. There we go. It only fits on one way. And it's like that. So we have the hilt? Is that called the hilt? Is the handle called the hilt of a sword? We have the handle anyway on. And now we need to put these two pieces on. And they fit on pretty specifically. Okay, so the long piece. There is almost a cutout that shows where the gun fits. And there are there's a tab in there, and that tab goes into one of the slots that's on the side of the gun. So we take the gun, and which side does this fit on? There we go. Fits on over right there. You probably want to start, because a lot of people struggle with putting this on. I did. There's also a little lip up here on the top of the sword. I would start by fitting that little lip in over, and then kind of angling it down on the gun. So fit the lip in over, right, at maybe like a 45, and then angle it down and squeeze it in, and it should stay on just fine. Then we have this other piece, and this other piece fits in on the other side, obviously. there's a little set of tracks in right there, and they go on over a little section down right here. But again, putting it on can be a little bit of a chore, and in the end you have a sword that looks like this. This thing is huge. I love it. It's like, you know, we put this in Magnus's hand. Oh, that was my fault. We put this in Magnus's hand, and I mean, it's like the size of the guy. It's like as big as the guy is. I would take that sword any day over a hammer. So we'll lay that aside. By the way, the sword and his gun, the whole thing can also peg on his back nicely. I really dig it, to be honest with you. I think that looks cool. I think that looks cool. Now we'll just lay this aside. Now we'll get right into the figure. I should point out that I did a bit of custom work on Ultra Magnus. I added red down here and on the other side, and brought it up to meet the natural red of his windows. I put red up on this section up here, and I put red way up here on his shoulders. Why? Why would I add so much red? Because I wanted him to look more G1. And I feel like the only way right now to point that out is by doing this. This is the leader class, Ultra Magnus. I think that this guy is pretty perfect. You know, for a chug collector, this guy's pretty perfect. I think he's a good size. I think he's a good look. My understanding is that he's more IDW inspired, but everything about him screams Ultra Magnus. And if we compare the two, obviously this guy's a lot smaller, but you can see his legs are blue with white on the front. His legs are blue with white on the front. His thighs are white. His thighs are white. There's white hands, blue on the forearm, blue on the forearm, white in between the forearm and I guess the shoulder, upper arm. Same on both. Blue on the shoulder pieces. And the pauldrons that are sticking out on top are white. Well, he also has a little bit of silver, but still, there's white there. The head is blue. Now, on this guy, there's red on the two sides of his head. Now, this guy has red on both sides of his head. I didn't need to add the red out front. I just did it because I wanted to do it. This guy has red coming down the side of his body. This guy now has red coming down the side of his body. Everything that I added to this guy, as minimal as it is, I think helps him look more Ultra Magnus-y. Now, honestly, I'm going to say that the blue on the deluxe class is actually nicer than the blue used on the Combiner Wars. I really wish the Combiner Wars Leader Ultra Magnus had this dark blue. That would have been just glorious. So what am I going to give the paint apps for this guy? Well, I had to do a bit of work on him, didn't I? So I'm going to say his paint apps are an 8. Pardon me. With my work, I think it pops him up to a 9, 9.5. You know, not perfect, but certainly better. Posability, playability, just the same as Optimus. You know, the shoulders go out like this. They're not, you know, they're not perfect. But they do go all the way around in the bicep swivel, and you have the super deep bend in the elbow. You have wrist articulation. You have waist swivel. You have legs all the way back, all the way out, super duper deep knee bend. And you have an ankle rocker and forward and back. You know, and even a thigh swivel, though that's a little bit, I guess, limited because it's way up here on the hip, just like it was with Optimus. But he can do anything you want him to do. Articulation, posability, playability. He rolls great in his alt mode. 10. 10. It's just that his size is not good enough. But still, we're looking at a good score for this guy. So let's go right into transformation. Now, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. If you want the detail, see the FOC Optimus Prime review for more detail. But, I'll run into it. By the way, these things up here also move, but I don't fold them down. I did on Optimus. I leave them up on Magnus because Magnus has those big shoulder pieces. So what do we do with this guy? Well, you take out the little tab on the back and you bring it in and you fold his head right into his body. The arms may move with it just as they did here. That's okay. Take them forward there, and if the head starts to come up, just hold it down and you'll be fine. Next, you want to take his feet and bring them forward and up over, foot forward and up over. And then you can peg the legs together. I feel like the legs peg tighter on this guy than they do on Optimus for whatever strange reason. I will say this piece here, this abdomen piece on Magnus likes to pop off. It doesn't do it on Optimus, but it does do it on Magnus. Now, you have him sort of laid out like this. What did we do next? Well, we take the arm and we turn it around so that the wheel is on the outside, and we do the same on the other side. We turn it around so that the wheel is on the outside. We fold the arms up and we turn the fist around so that the back of the hand is facing out rather than the fingers. We fold the arm up and we do the same thing, turn the fist around so that the back of the hand is facing out instead of the fingers. There's a tab on the arm. There's a little hole just below his red window. You basically need to make sure that you peg the arms into the holes on the side, just like that. Now, I should point out that I have given this guy to the scraplets to play with, and here and here you'll see two ball joints that have got nothing on them. They're supposed to have white pieces that fold down across the front and become his front bumper, but guess what? The scraplets got those lost. Also, we fold up the legs, and as we fold up the legs, there's a little I guess peg here and peg here. They're supposed to go into two holes on the back right there. I'll say the same thing that I said about Optimus. I don't know if they actually ever peg in there because you can't really see what you're doing. I just bring them all together and kind of hope for the best, but shaking him, he's not coming apart. And here is Ultra Magnus done and in vehicle mode. And he rolls great. He rolls like a champion. Love it. Looks okay. It's okay. You're right. It's not his car carrier thing. It's a Cybertronian mode. So you'd have to be okay with a Cybertronian mode. But getting him from robot to this, easy peasy. Transformation 9 or 10. Just because it's so easy. Kids can do this. You can fiddle with it at your desk. Anybody who likes a really involved transformation, well, you're probably not going to enjoy this guy because he is easy. So what do you do with this? Remember we talked about terrible weapon storage with Sideswipe? Well, it didn't improve with this guy. If you had the gun and the sword apart, you could put the gun up in one of the holes up here and have it face forward over him. And you could peg the sword in on the side. But let's just assume that you keep it all together like this. One big chunk. There's a peg on this side that you can peg it into. Now I say on this side because if you try to peg it in the other way, this handle will be down too far when you lay him down. So he's going to have a huge blade on the side of him, and it got to be on this side because it's the only way he will still roll with a weapon attached, because there's not a lot of clearance. Overall score for this guy. He is a stylized Ultra Magnus. Assuming you're okay with that, this guy is about a 9. If you're not okay with him being a stylized Ultra Magnus, well, then he's not going to be for you. If you're into the fall of Cybertron aesthetic, hey, this guy's a wonderful addition. Wonderful addition. And the best part is, it's an Ultra Magnus that you can get at usually a pretty reasonable price. I don't think you'd be disappointed if you had him, other than the fact that he's a deluxe and he is stylized. That's all about personal choice. That's all about what you like and what you dislike, and we're all entitled to like and dislike whatever we enjoy. And I guess don't enjoy. Anyway, that ties it up for this guy. Like I said, he's great. He's about a 9. I appreciate you dropping by. I appreciate you having a visit. Please, let me know what you think about this guy. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I guess the only thing left to say is thanks for watching. And I can't wait until I get a chance to visit with you again right here next time inside the videos.